Surprisingly, my favourite character in Honkai Star Rail is you. Or me. Or... Actually, the reason I like them so much is the same reason I lied. The Trailblazer is my favourite character so far because they aren't a silent protagonist. Not entirely, at least. It's strange, I fully expected March or Dunhung to be my favourite, but those two stood no chance. A while back I made a video about silent protagonists. I'd appreciate you watching it as it's one of the few on my channel I still like, but I've always hated silent protagonists that aren't meant to be blank slates. At the end of that video, I suggested a compromise between the two types of protagonist. Someone who has multiple choice dialogue for smaller things but has a voice of their own when it matters. To be honest, I didn't expect that to ever happen, it was just part of my venting. But the Trailblazer is exactly that. They are silent for the most part, but their different dialogue options say different things or ask different questions, instead of each one being a synonym of the other. They also convey completely different moods, almost like something out of a BioWare RPG. But when it counts, they speak. They have several vocal lines throughout the story, mostly internal monologues, but they emote. We see how they feel about things. Even the quest logs are written informally to further flesh them out more. It's what I've always wanted for a character in something like this. Some freedom to express yourself, but still having a strong core that keeps them relevant all on their own. Essentially, the Trailblazer is a quiet protagonist, not a silent one. Gone are the days of needing to define the main character for yourself by studying their canonical actions. The Trailblazer defines themselves. Chill with Asta made some videos about the Travelers in Genshin and why she likes them, and a lot of the same points apply here. Even if the Trailblazer doesn't say much, they clearly have their own set of values that they stick to, even if they have a sense of humor sometimes. In fact, they're so much more charismatic than the Travelers too. They can be incredibly sassy at times, and some of their interactions are genuinely hilarious, including some pre-written ones. I honestly thought March would be the funniest member of the cast, but no, it's the main character. I already uploaded an Easter egg featuring them and some very alluring trash cans, and maybe I'll upload a spoiler-heavy montage later on. We'll see. I don't know why Hoyoverse made this decision, if they received criticism about the Traveler or saw rising backlash against silent protagonists in general, but I'm so glad they did. The Trailblazer is such an engaging lead this way. They emote. They express a number of different emotions in both dialogue and voice, from grumpy to humorous to tender to sleepy, none of which you'd expect from a silent protagonist, but rather a fully defined one, and I love this approach from the bottom of my heart. If anything, I hope the full game goes even further in the vocal direction. For instance, there aren't many voice scenes with them and other people. I'd like to see more of that. I don't know how much it would cost to keep bringing all 8 of the Trailblazers actors back for every patch, but I'd love it if most of their dialogue going forward was voiced too, just to add that extra bit of substance to them. So yeah, this is another short video, and I'm sure I'll remember tons of other details as soon as I finish rendering it, but for now that's my think piece on my new favourite character and how happy I am about the decisions taken with them. And I was right. One other reason the Trailblazer is so interesting is the lack of a sidekick like Paimon or Morgana. Now, I like both of those, but by always speaking for their respective MCs, they rob them of their agencies and the chance to emote for themselves. I said this in my other video, but a clear example of this can be found in the moments of Persona 5 where Morgana and Joker are separated. At those points, Joker has to think for himself, and hearing his opinions from himself makes him far more interesting than having Morgana tell us the same things as an outsider. The lack of such an external voice for the Trailblazer means they have to share their own feelings for themselves, which further cements them as their own person, complete with their own thoughts and opinions. Anyway, I know there are only 2 data points, but between Star Rail and Soul Hackers' Ringo, I hope we see a greater shift away from silent protagonists who make no sense being silent in the games to come as well. Of course, it helps that the Trailblazer is genuinely interesting as both a character and a concept on top of all of that, on top of being really strong gameplay-wise with really great designs, voices and animations, especially the female version. I initially wanted to pick her for the beta and play as a guy in the final game, but after seeing comparisons between them, I think I'm going to stick with her and her imposing aura instead. And the aura just makes her moments of sheer hilarity all the more funny and makes her all the more interesting. I really like that contrast they've given her, and again, both sets of voice actors have done incredible jobs, and I really want to know who they are. Hopefully we don't have to wait for the game to formally release before they're revealed. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Please let me know what you think and what questions you have about the game and closed beta, as I'd like to make a video breaking everything down in the near future. I know, SEO-wise, I should have started churning out videos right away, but I really want to sink my teeth into the game before doing so fire away. Thank you all again, and as always, have a great day. I do feel really sorry for Dunhung though. The free-to-play roster is much larger than Genshin's, and yet he's still the only male freebie. If you play as the female MC, as I have, it means the poor guy's just surrounded by women at all times. Wait.